Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Cubica AMF Tech Tip Podcast. This is a weekly podcast where we take you on a journey through the fascinating world of bowling technology and beyond. I am your host, Orly, and I have the privilege of having Travis Huston back to the show. Travis, how are you doing today?
Good, Orly. How about you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited for today's show. So, first off, we're going to be talking hyper tests. But before we get into that, I know not everyone has had the chance to do hyper bowling. And if you haven't had the chance, make sure you're finding a center near you because it is a great time. It's basically a blend of, bowling and gaming. And it's basically a video game played on a bowling lane. Is that how you would describe it also?
Yeah, it allows centers to offer bumper bowling in a different capacity. It allows for unique games. It allows for a different scoring format. You basically hit a colored section of the bumper, and it counts as a multiplier toward your pinfall. So
Yeah.
there's a few different games that are integrated with that as well.
Yeah, so I was at Bowl Expo. Well, I've been at Bowl Expo the last few years, but what we had Hyper Bowl set up there, and people would come up to the lane to like roll a ball because there was some full size lane set up, and I would be like, oh, you want, we have Hyper Bowl here, you want to test this out? And some people would be like, no, I'm just gonna roll a regular ball. But then they see these lights going and see other people, rolling the ball, making it bump off these bumpers, special bumpers, and they're kind of like, I'll try it, and I'm like, all right, and then they have a blast. It's such a good time. I'm a video game guy, so yeah, it is kind of like a video game on the lanes, and it's such a blast. I love it. And Travis, so today what I said we were going to talk about was going to be hyper tests. So can you explain a little bit what hyper testing would be if they have hyperbowl in their center, and kind of just let us know when they would do this, why they would do this, and anything else that goes along with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one thing with hyper testing, if we're in our Conquer screen, we would start with setup, modules, and option setup, and we would go to our hyper bowling tests. Now, in this screen, you're going to be testing three different functions of your hyper bumpers or hyper rails, whichever term you prefer to use. We are going to test the LED lights that run throughout your bumpers. We are going to be testing the sensors that allow for the sensing of the ball as it hits a certain section of your bumper. And we're also going to be testing the motors for the up and down movement of the automatic bumpers. That's
Okay.
another nice feature about hyper bumpers that they're automatic and they're specific to each bowler too. So in testing, if we want to test the LEDs, we would simply hit test LEDs. You would obviously select, which lanes are applicable that you want to be testing. And so we test LEDs. You're going to see a white light all the way throughout the strip. This will allow you to notice any breaks in the light, any issues, any parts that aren't lit up have an issue at that point, and that would require replacing of some of the LED strips. In testing your sensors, you want to make sure that you start with the bumpers up in the up position. And then if we test the sensors, and at the top left in your hyper bowling test screen, you will see where it says details. You will see either green, yellow, or red for the different sections and the different areas of your hyper rails. And this will indicate what or if any adjustment would need to be made. So, for instance, if they're all green, we're good to go. And you're going to see numerical values along with those colors. Okay. Typically, 50 to 100 is good. No adjustment needed. Numbers 25 to 50 is going to be yellow, and that would indicate that you need to make an adjustment soon. Hyperbowling will still work, but it just wants you to make an adjustment soon so that it stays in adjustment. And then if it is red, it indicates that hyperbowling or the sensors may not be working properly because they're not properly aligned. So that's testing our sensors. And then when we do a motor test, you are able to select how many cycles you want to test the motors for. And essentially, this is the bumper going up and down. and I believe you're allowed to do up to 10 cycles or tests for the bumpers to go up and down. And what you're looking for there is making sure that they go up all the way to their stopping position, which is the maximum height should be 110 degrees. That might be a little tough to look with the naked eye, but just understanding that, as long as they're going up and down through your motor test, things are working properly. And then as far as maintenance for your bumpers, we want to be doing this hyper test about once weekly.
Okay.
Um, for busier lineage centers, you may want to do twice weekly, probably definitely in a morning before your peak period of business, right? Because this is our time to show off the hyper bowling and introduce it to our customers and be able to show them and get them excited about the games. So we want to make sure that we test them, especially before peak periods of business, and then probably another day where you're doing regular maintenance anyways. It's a quick test, takes 5-10 minutes. Just run through them and make sure that they're working properly.
Well, was there anything else with that, Travis, or would that be about all when it comes to hyper tests?
The only thing that I can think of, and this just would apply if the center had a power outage. What would we do, or what would we check if hyperbowling went down, or things like that? And this is 90%. It's going to be there was a power outage at the facility. This is as simple as unplugging and plugging in the hyper server that is located on your mask wall, or wherever you have your hyper servers located. And that will allow it to reset. The scoring will reset. And once you have your hyper bumper lights on, you should be good to go from there. So that's the only thing I wanted to mention in addition to that, from a hyper bowling maintenance perspective. So,
All right. Well, you guys heard it there. Travis, as always, explains it to make it easy for everyone. So if you have hyperbole in your center, make sure you're doing these tests. Just like with any other product, you keep the maintenance up on it. It's going to run smoothly and run as long as possible. So again, Travis, thank you for joining the show. And if you haven't tried hyperbole, and again, go find a center near you that has hyperbole, and it's such a great time. You'll have a blast. Whether you're 3 years old or 300 years old, you're gonna have a blast in hyperbole. It's for everyone. And if you're new to the show, make sure to give us a follow. Share it to all your friends. There's so many shows there out there with so much knowledge. And again, Travis, thank you, and we will talk to everyone soon.
thank you, Orly. Have a great day.
You too.